Russia offered bounty to kill UK soldiers.
Here's a summary of the article.
The Russian intelligence unit behind the attempted murder in Salisbury of the former double agent Sergei Skripal secretly offered to pay Taliban-linked fighters to kill British and American soldiers in Afghanistan, according to U.S. reports. The revelation piles pressure on the UK to take robust action against the Kremlin amid continuing anger over the government's delay in publishing a key report on Russian attempts to destabilize the UK. The bombshell report in the New York Times says there has been a major escalation by Moscow to undermine the White House and its coalition allies, including the UK, as President Trump seeks a peace deal with the Taliban. Dr. Yuri Felshtinsky, a Russian intelligence expert who wrote the book Blowing Up Russia with the Murdered Spy Alexander Litvinenko, said the GRU's approach was a logical one. It's just a continuation of military operations using different tools. And money is a very good tool to be used. If you pay somebody to kill Americans, it's actually much easier and cheaper than to do it using the GRU. Sir Andrew Wood, Britain's ambassador to Russia from 1995 to 2000, said the allegations were perfectly plausible, adding, "I don't think it's the sort of thing made up for propaganda purposes." Of course, the Russians would deny it if Vladimir Putin had been photographed shooting someone in the head. There is a suspicion that Boris Johnson and his predecessor, Theresa May, have been reluctant to publish an Intelligence and Security Committee report on Russia, finished last October, for fear of upsetting Trump. These worrying reports should be the catalyst for the Prime Minister to finally release the ISC Report No. 10. Have been stalling for more than 6 months, said Shadow Foreign Secretary Lisa Nandy. Lib Dem spokesman Alistair Carmichael echoed the call for the ISC report to be published. These reports throw up serious questions about Trump's soft touch when it comes to Russia. The Foreign Secretary must also make clear whether the UK had any knowledge of these reports and what conversations he has had with his US counterpart about sanctions towards Russia given these shocking revelations.
This post received a score of 9,800, with an upvote ratio of 97%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Remember when Trump wanted to include Russia in the G7? Well, he knew about this before he asked. Remember when Trump took the side of Putin over our NSA, CIA and FBI intelligence communities over Russian election meddling? And people say he isn't Putin's bitch.
I'm not convinced there's a P-tape-style blackmail. I am 100% sure that he has received shitloads of money from corrupt Russians laundering their money and getting around sanctions since long before he was a candidate for office, and that he wants to continue that arrangement.
I think that's the most likely explanation. His dealings with Russian dirty money through his properties are well documented.
Yeah, he's been involved with Russian mob for fucking decades. People just ignore it. Like all the other disgusting shit he's done.
No one reputable wanted to loan Trump money after he'd train-wrecked a bunch of companies in the late 80s, 90s, and he owed his creditors billions. Trump loses his investors' money all the time, but if you're trying to wash your money, you expect to lose some. Putin gets proof that Trump was involved in money laundering. If Putin ever releases it, then Trump's entire business empire could get seized, president or no, Trump could go to jail, and his family is left bankrupt, for real this time.
Well, I'm sure that Boris Johnson and obvious Russian asset Dominic Cummings will be right on this.
I hope the government respond in a better way than they did to the Salisbury poisonings. Harsh tone and fire diplomats was for Salisbury, and hopefully for this we get some extra sanctions on Russia, but I'm not hopeful. I think the UK government's response will be proportional to Trump's response. If Trump sanctions Russia, we will too; if he doesn't, we won't.
Hey now, at least you get harsh tones and some firings. We've got that going on here too, but the harsh tones and firings are being issued to the people who are pissed off about it.
Probably to who discovered and leaked it.
Trump knew. Trump did nothing. No, Trump tried to get Russia into the G7.
Yeah, he's a bitch.
It's almost like they're bad or something. Their outrage is directed at their local politicians. Whenever America is attacked in even the tiniest way, there is usually a lot of hostility directed at the enemy nation. Contrast this with a China threat where all the outrage is directed at the country or its people. For the doings of a private company or individual, the whole country is condemned. Or maybe even a threat about African nations, Brazil, Turkey or India, you'd see more critical comments.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.